Up the sports corner.
TSC Ronaldo.
It's changed it. Hello, welcome to the Top Corner episode number 19. I know this is sports corner there. As per usual, we are at home on lockdown. Joining me today is Kieren L and Rodizzle. How are we both doing, boys?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Not too
good.
bad.
I'm not too bad myself. We've got loads to come through today. We've got our rest of the world and our EFL team of the season predictions and debate that we'll be talking about. And we've got loads of questions, loads of things to talk about throughout the show. So over the next hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, however long it takes, come join us for a very special Top Corner episode.
Beautiful.
It's every time, innit? Perfectly timed that. Every single time. So we are indeed at episode 19 already of the podcast. And as I said before, Kieren L and Rowan are joining us today. Unfortunately, there is no Kieren D. Hopefully, he should be back in the near future. Hopefully is the important word to add their fingers crossed on that one. But even with him not
getting rusty, isn't it?
Oh, who knows? But I mean, joining us as always, as I say, we've got Kieren L and Rowan. They're here today to talk us through their rest of the world and EFL teams. But we'll not just be talking about today. It'll be a little bit of light-hearted talk to take things off the mind of lockdown while we're still in there. Not in the studio, unfortunately. Hopefully, we'll be back there soon. Now, of course, as I said, it is about the EFL and La Liga. So, would you like to know the order of the teams before we go into it? It's not La Liga, it's rest of the world, isn't it?
Yeah, it's rest of the world. We did La Liga already.
Probably a good start. No.
Because Chris Welch missed last week, and he says, "Hi, lads. Sorry I missed last week. I was working, but I'm off till Saturday. Hope you've been keeping well." So he missed La Liga, but he's here for rest of the world and EFL.
That's all right. True. Very, very true.
Yes, it happened.
I mean, yeah, that comment has come up for you quite quick, though, because mine hasn't come up. I've just got Benaldo's there just saying up the sports corner, and that's it.
And I've just realised he's now TSC Benaldo, which means he is the sports corner Benaldo.
Hey, there we go. It's coming now, Chris Welch. It's coming. So before we even go into our predictions, that we'll talk about what we've chosen a little bit later on. But we could see the order of the teams. Who's going to be talking through theirs first? So as always, we get the wheel out to the side.
I like that you've actually edited it this time, so you don't have to wait for you to actually.
Great, isn't it?
So Josh is first.
I'm first, followed by Kieren D, who isn't here, so I'll be talking through his team. In third, we have just by a whisker, Kieren L, and to prove that Rowan is last, just spin the wheel to make sure he's last.
As per usual.
As per usual, unfortunately, Rowan. You are last. Unfortunately, one day you will be third. One day. Who knows? So, how have you all been under lockdown? Of course, we're getting well and truly into it now. Getting into the swing of living at home. How's life been so far?
Great. Easy.
It's all right. As I was saying, to be fair, I'd prefer to go out, but we've just got to do what we've got to do, haven't we?
I think it's been lovely weather, so to speak.
Yeah, that's the only issue, isn't it? You look outside and you see how nice the weather's looking and how warm it's been, especially coincidentally now everyone's in lockdown. The weather's decided to go, it. We'll ramp it up 2 times the heat to what you've had the entire year so far. So it's annoying in that sense, but of course it is the Easter weekend as well. Has anyone cracked open any of the Easter eggs already, or are you waiting?
I've been cracking them open since March, to be fair, when they were on
I've been doing it for 20 years. So.
When they were 75p in Tesco's, I just used to hoard them.
Oh, you just can't go wrong with that, can you?
They were selling them well early, weren't they, as well? When did we get put on lockdown? Well, it was a Thursday.
It was a Monday, and I think it was like two weeks ago. So it'd been like towards the end of the middle of March.
Oh, it was more than 2 weeks because we did Premier League at home. We've already done Premier League, La Liga, Serie A.
It definitely won't have been 3 weeks. It had been less than 3 weeks just because
we did Premier League
when it gets reviewed. Yeah. So I think it's like the whole lockdown thing gets reviewed next, like the Monday coming. So
I think we did on the 18th. So
I'm pretty sure Easter eggs were on sale before this became a thing. I swear
easy.
Yeah. I swear they came like
it was February. At least more than a month ago because we came home nearly a month ago.
Really?
So yeah.
Is it only me? Like, is time flying in some areas?
Because time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah,
That's
but I'm
what the
not.
sports corner is.
Oh, right. I didn't know you were following up with that. I am having loads.
It's
go on.
weird though, isn't it? It's just
Yeah.
I think people are starting to finally get used to it, but I think there's a lot of people at the same time.
On the news with people having barbecues in the bloody middle of park and stuff.
Yeah, it's honestly it's ridiculous.
In fairness,
I
fancied a barbecue the other day. I'd have a barbecue.
Yeah, but if you're in the back, right?
I mean, Chris Welch, don't get me started on Easter nonsense, celebrating eating a chocolate egg. Jesus Christ, this world.
In fairness, if you think about it, it is the stupidest reason. Jesus, he rose from the dead. First thing he did, popped off to Tesco, he got a cream egg Easter egg. Forget about cleaning the land, turning water to wine. He got an Easter egg.
He went, let me just pop and get a Cadbury's Easter egg for £1. God's sake. I mean, Chris also says that I'm not in a dark room like 2 weeks ago. Wait as the podcast develops. You'll see how the light slowly starts dimming as time goes on. So we know how the lineups are going this week. In terms of the predictions, the teams that have been asked. As I said before, I'll be going through Kieran D's with him not being here today. The last question I'll ask before we kick on with our first section of teams, which will be the rest of the world. Has anyone been watching anything quite recently over the last week or so?
In terms of sports?
No, just sports or anything in general, to be honest.
I watched this weekend, we had the virtual... what Grand Prix was it? It was a virtual Grand Prix. It was Vietnam, so the rest in Australia. Charles Leclerc won that convincingly, so that was fun.
Has Thibaut Courtois still been playing in it, or has he stopped?
He's not in the F1 one. I think he's in the Veloce one. He was also just playing F1 the other day. I think he was streaming it.
There was a virtual Grand National as well, which I missed.
Oh yes, there was, wasn't there?
2.3 million or something.
Yeah, I didn't know it was
a very high amount. It was. They didn't really advertise it well, to be honest, because I looked in the TV guide and I saw, obviously, because it's not like the actual Grand National wasn't. I saw like the virtual thing. It was only on for half an hour, but I don't think it got enough coverage to say it was for charity.
Well, the F1. Sorry.
I was just to say I would have bet on it. Like I bet on the Grand National normally. Like if I knew it was happening, I would have done it. But I just didn't get enough. Like maybe I need it shoved in my face next time.
The thing is, because F1 promoted their virtual Grand Prix on Sky One, they actually had it for free on that.
Really?
I think, is it Sky Sports main event? It's one of the channels that you get for free if you've got Sky that sometimes shows sport, shows the show Saturday. What's it called? Soccer Saturday. There we go.
Soccer Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean, Bernaldo's just given the perfect reason there of somebody who was out. Mourinho was out with Sessegnon and Ndombele and Sanchez in Hadley Common Barnet doing a training session.
Cal Walker was out with some women.
Two women.
Yes, having a little bit of fun.
Some young workers.
And Jack Grealish was being an absolute twat, doing the usual.
With Jack Grealish? I saw the Twitter video, but I don't understand why.
Give you a little bit of context on the Jack Grealish situation. Basically, former Leeds player Ross McCormack invited Jack Grealish around for drinks and.
Wait, Ross McCormack back in England?
Yeah, he's back in England right now. And he invited Jack Grealish round to his house. They know each other quite well. Basically, had a couple of drinks and that. Jack Grealish decided to get into his car, drive it while drunk, crashed it, got out of his car and started to do a runner before he was found and caught. And of course, obviously came out on Twitter apologising because only a couple of hours before that, he tweeted out campaigning about staying indoors. So well done, Jack Grealish.
I've just seen a comment from Chris Welch. I don't know if it'll pop up for you. He just went, luckily Nico Coward-Rosberg wasn't in virtual Grand Prix. He would have retired straight after winning race like he retired when winning the world title and not defend disgrace to F1. So fair to say, I don't like Nico Coward-Rosberg, lads. If you don't know, he won the title in 2016 and he retired that season. So he didn't get people are saying so he didn't have to defend his title. It's great. It's just pure shithousery.
Smart thinking, isn't it?
F off.
Smart thinking in that sense of it. But, I mean, can you imagine that if, Leicester City just decided to completely go bust after they won the Premier League title, just to say that they never had to defend it? It was just theirs forever. I mean, Liverpool will be quite happy right now because Champions League-wise, they still own it. So it's not too bad for them in that sense. But with the Jack Grealish thing, don't do a Jack Grealish. Don't do a Mourinho and don't do a Kyle Walker. Just stay indoors. Because, I mean, let's be honest, Jack Grealish apologises every time, but keeps doing the wrong thing. So...
Someone made the point, it's to be fair, these people are only saying sorry because someone caught them.
Well,
They wouldn't
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they won't be saying sorry. Like, they won't come out and admit that they'd done something wrong if they never, like, if none of this ever came out. But in terms of watching stuff this weekend, WrestleMania, I watched
Big
WrestleMania.
Well,
WrestleMania.
yeah, the big WrestleMania was going on over the weekend. Of course, if you do want to find out a bit of an analysis and thoughts and opinions, Rowan and Simon did a show on Tuesday. The Wrestling Corner, they gave their thoughts. I'll put a link in the description for the video if you'd like to check that out. But what did you guys think of WrestleMania?
It was genuinely so fun. I think when we were talking about it before, we was like, it's going to be all right. No crowd, bit crap. 2 days could be a bit crap. It was perfect for me. Great timing. Having both days, had two incredible visual match, not actual matches, but sort of cinematic. Matches. Yeah, it was just really good.
It had no right to be as enjoyable as it was. Everything this year was going against this being a good show.
It's like
sorry. They never get enough credit when they deserve it. People will crap on them because they're the best. It's like I crap on Man City because they're the best. I just don't like them. So it's like people will crap on them, but they deserve a lot of credit for what they created this weekend. And it did provide a distraction from away from all this negativity. And they did what they did best, and that's put smiles on people's faces.
It's like having an FA Cup match, right? It's like Newcastle versus Swansea, and it might end up a 7-0 thriller.
So
it didn't have an right.
Rotherham third cup round, third cup.
Yeah, no. Some of us will say that. And I mean, the good thing as well about the WrestleMania situation as well is because it was pretty much one of the only kind of sports going on. Obviously, it was trending worldwide. It was all over Twitter. It was all over Facebook. And it was just getting a lot of recognition. I think from a lot of people that might have not watched a lot of wrestling recently, maybe gone off it quite a bit. But now that there's not other sports like football and tennis and things going on, I think a lot of people are kind of reverting back to what they used to watch. And I think it's just nice to see a sport that maybe people don't give enough appreciation for, going back and watch it and actually
in terms of
thinking it's good. Yeah, pretty much. That's the perfect way to describe it. I mean, in terms of entertainment, UFC. Looking at buying an island to use it.
This is fun. So
this one's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, UFC 249 will go ahead, but unsurprisingly, it will not be Tony v Khabib. 5 times, 5 strikes, still never had that matchup.
Maybe one day. It's just cursed, isn't it?
First matchup, I don't even care anymore. It's like 5 times and it's never gone ahead. Just scrap it, it's never going to happen. So instead, we've got Tony versus Justin Gaethje. It'll be an absolutely brilliant fight. Gaethje is got that sort of style where he's going to end up with brain problems just because he stands there and doesn't move. He just gets hit, but he keeps going. So, but it's fun to watch. Great card. But then, after they've got this arena or whatever, it's for 2 months. And then after that 2 months is over, they're apparently going to a private island where they can then put events on. And someone said it's like Mortal Kombat. They've gone to a private island and they're going to run events from a private island.
They've basically got the best fighters they've brought in the best fighters in the world to fight on there. It's like a millionaire who just wants to have all the entertainment, so he's paid people billions of money just to do whatever he wants.
But
it's outdoor as well.
When I first heard of it, I'm not gonna lie, it sounded like some kind of battle royale shit where they were just gonna get all the UFC fighters, stick them on an island, and just say go up against each other. And the last one wins gets to leave. Yeah. I mean, if only football could do that.
I don't know what they're going to do though, because how have they built a stadium on the island ready for this? Have they built?
There will be a ring and probably a wooden walkway that they can walk down to it.
It's going to be so weird. It's like putting an octagon on Miami Beach.
You'd assume that. Did you say they got the current stadium they're using for 2 months? You'd assume that in this next 2 months they'll be busting their asses off to get it sorted out.
Well, are they doing a show every week? If I've read that correctly.
I think Dana said he wants to on as many fights as possible. Like he wants to kind of be pumping out fights, but they're limited because they can only use people in America because no one can.
Do you know Brendan Schaub?
I do know Brendan Schaub.
I watched a video of him saying, unlike the NFL and NHL, they're not as big as them, so they don't have as many regulations that they sort of have to follow as compared to the bigger sports.
It's
it's fascinating, isn't it? Because I said when I first read it, I couldn't believe it because I was thinking about no other sport would probably go and do that, and the fact they've gone to that extreme length to get fights on is incredible. I mean, Chris Welch perfectly sums it up. He doesn't like sport behind closed doors, but that's the way it's got to be. It's the perfect reasoning.
To be fair, though, it's either that or no sport at all.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, you look at football right now, the fact that it pretty much cannot run because even behind closed doors, it's too risky. While UFC's gone out to get an island.
Ronaldo's tweet is Survivor EPL edition: escape a rabid Luis Suarez hell-bent on cannibalism.
Is that all?
See, I'd like to know that if let's say the Premier League did buy an island and they did a death match, and they could only pick from each team one player to go and fight for their club. That might be something for a separate day.
Aston Villa Jack Grealish because he doesn't care. Aston Jack because that's how he was raised.
My winner would be Wilfred and Ndidi.
See,
Kante, he's got the stamina.
I feel like
cannibalise anybody.
I'm thinking like Crystal Palace. Would they take someone like Benteke, or would they take Miljevic just because it's Miljevic? Do you know what I mean?
I'd take Mamadou Sakho.
Do you think?
Sakho. Yeah. You take Dejan Lovren.
I mean, there you go. Benaldo, Adama Traore's Gladiator. You've got Adama in there as well.
Sakho is so stupid, he'd probably trip over his own feet and end up cannibalising like himself. Like he'd somehow kill himself in the survival. I don't know how it happened.
I mean, even like Liverpool, you've got to think they'd probably take Van Dijk just because of his height.
Lovren.
No. Milner.
Lovren's more vicious.
Well, I think Milner's that type of person. He'd be like the Tom Hanks type of guy. Like, stay away from everyone and just survive. And he'd use all of the natural stuff around him to keep living while the rest of them are just fighting each other and killing one another.
In a campfire in the corner, just trying to light it up.
I feel like everyone would have like died around him, and James will be like, "Well, I'm all right. I've still got all my equipment here. You know, I'm good." He's building a boat to leave. Do you know what? I like that. We might have to do that someday. We might have to write like each player that we think would go onto an island to play Battle Royale.
When that video comes out, we've run out of ideas.
Yeah. I mean, Chris Welch's putting Lovren needs to be good at something, I suppose.
Oh, darn. He's the best defender in the world.
But anyway, we'll go on to...
He knocked us out of the World Cup, I'm sorry.
It's very
true. He was part of the team that knocked us out of the World Cup.
Mandzukic did, not him. Mandzukic.
He was the leading pillar.
Yeah. To be fair, he was a Champions League finalist as well.
He's won a Champions League and he's a World Cup finalist. You know what?
Not many players can say that.
He's not going to win the argument, but he can argue.
He's like that type of person that will just keep saying it, no matter what you put at them to fight back. But I played in the final. I played in the Champions League. I've won.
Like them people like back in 1960, I did win the FA Cup once.
Yeah.
Like Birmingham, they're just going to hold on forever that they won a League Cup. Well done.
Yeah. But we'll go on to the first section of the podcast in terms of our predictions. We've got two to do today. We've got the rest of the world team of the season and the EFL. We'll start off with the rest of the world. The way that this one worked is you could use any league apart from you could use the diverse ones at the end of the day. But there is one person, Kieren D, did use the MLS. He's used that in there. I don't think if anybody else has. I did say not to kind of use it. You could use a player in there, but it's only because that was last season.
I wanted to use Carlos Vela, but I didn't end up using him. I ended up veering away from it.
But that's all right. At the end of the day, he's got a reason to be in there. So as you may have not seen, if you've just joined the stream now, if you want to put your comments in throughout the show, please do. And if you are new to the channel as well, do leave a subscription. We are very, very close to 600 subscribers. A lot more content to come.
It feels like we're always this close. But...
Yeah. We're a whisker away, and you can help us
with his eyes.
Get to that mark.
Mother, share it to your father, share it to your grandma, share it to your granny, share it to your brother and sister, your cat, your dog, your cousin, anyone.
Share it to everyone. Honestly, it'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. So if you've only just joined the stream, the way it's going to work, I'm going to go with my team first. Then I'll explain Kieren D, who's not here today. Then Kieren L, and then finally, Rowan, you'll have your team. So without further ado, let's go into the first team of the game,
Can we
which is my
the
team.
problem with one certain team because he's covering both teams in one?
Yeah, Rowan has gone for EFL and rest of the world, but we'll come to that a little bit later on.
I thought that's what we were doing, all right. So leave me
It's
alone.
all right. At least he's got a team there. He's made a
Yeah.
team. Dedication to the cause on that one. But I'll start off with the rest of the world team that I've gone for in this one. Now, it was a very tricky one. I'm not going to lie. It took me over 2.5, 3 hours plus to make this team. Yeah, it was a long one, honestly. A ridiculously long one.
And you've got fullbacks that are closer to the goalkeeper than the centre-backs are.
I had to, because if I put it up, Douglas Santos' name was getting cut off. I was like, no, I need his name there. So I've gone for a very defensive formation where the right-backs are playing further back than the centre-backs. But we'll let the full-backs do what they want. I don't think Tellers is happy because he'd like to go forwards, but it's tough.
It's fine.
In this formation. So we start off with the goalkeepers. I've gone for Marco Bizzo. Now, he is of AZ Alkmaar in the Eredivisie, and this season he's had 17 clean sheets in the league. That is 8 more than any other keeper in the league. AZ Alkmaar, they're having their best season in years. They're second right now. They're actually on the same points as Ajax in first place. So they're really, really fighting hard for the title. And I do think he's also in line to get called up for the Euros next year if he keeps his form running. So I've gone for Marco Bizzo as my first goalkeeper. And the second keeper I've gone for is Jose Sarr of Olympiacos. Now, Olympiacos this season have played 26 games so far. Jose Sarr's kept 18 clean sheets out of a possible 26. He's been there for a couple of years now. He's ever consistent. And Olympiacos haven't lost a single league game this season. They're one of the only teams in the world that are still unbeaten. And it's very, very likely that they are going to go unbeaten for the entire season, which is just absolutely ridiculously good. In terms of the left back position, of course, Alex Telles. I think it's safe to say everybody will have probably gone for Telles. Ridiculously good both attackingly and defensively. He's had 16 goals he's only conceded this season out of all the games he's played. He's only had 2 losses this season with Porto, who's at the top of Liga NOS. He's scored 8 goals, which is one of the highest goal tallies in Liga NOS this season, which is just ridiculous for a left back. And I think he's bound to go on to a big European club next season. I don't think Porto will be able to keep him. My other left back, Leicester. There you go. I heard I think Tottenham as well were one of the clubs who were looking at him.
Too good for Leicester, politely. I think they'll stick with Chilwell because he's young. He's still young, is Chilwell, and I don't think Chilwell will want to play sub to Tellez at this point. Whereas I think Ben Davies is deservedly to be a substitute because he's not good enough.
No, I think as well, if any team needs to improve on their left backs, it's Tottenham between the two of them. My other left back I've gone for is Douglas Santos. You might recognise the name. He used to play for Hamburg in the Bundesliga. He moved to Zenit not too long ago. He's played 22 games this season. He's only conceded 10 goals throughout the entire season. They've played 22 games. He's had 12 clean sheets so far and has been a standout for Zenit as they top the Russian league. For the right back position, I've gone for Denzel Dumfries. Now, PSV haven't been the best this season. I think they're sitting 4th right now in the league. But quite crazily enough, Dumfries has scored 7 goals this season, which is the second most amount for PSV behind Doniel Marlin, who's out injured for the rest of the season. So the way that Dumfries is going, he could actually be their top goal scorer, which is mental when you think about it. He's also had 4 assists as well. And realistically, if you take his goals out this season, PSV would have dropped quite far down in the league just because of the sheer amount of goals that he scored. And my 4 centre-backs I've gone for. Now, the left centre-back, I've gone for a guy called Simon Deli. He's an Ivorian centre-back of Club Brugge. 26 games he's played this season. He's kept 16 clean sheets. That's 60% of the matches he's played where the club have conceded absolutely no goals. They've only conceded 12 goals in the 26 games that he's played. At 28, he's a rock at the back for the club, and I do think he's very likely to be picked up by a pretty decent European side very, very soon because he's always been quite consistent. I've gone for Coop Miners as well to the left of him. Once again, he plays for AZ Alkmaar. He plays both in a CDM and a centre-back role. He scored 11 goals this season. Now, that is absolutely ridiculous. Like one of the only centre-backs who's had a very similar record in terms of double goals in previous seasons is Ronald Koeman in terms of centre-backs from the Eredivisie.
Yeah, you've seen one of mine that I'm about to mention.
I bet he's got about 100 goals. He's kept 60 clean sheets this season as well, and he's ridiculously good defensively. Attacking-wise, he's versatile, and I've put him in at the left centre-back position. And on the right centre-back position, I've gone for another Olympiacos player. I've gone for Ruben Semedo. You might remember him being in the headlines for completely the wrong reasons, but he's kind of rejuvenated himself at Olympiacos this season. They've had some defensive issues with injuries, but he has stood up when needed to. 21 games played, 14 clean sheets. He's only conceded 8 goals throughout the entire 21 games he's played, which is just a phenomenal record for a centre-back. And then the final centre-back, it was between Ruben Dias of Benfica and Ivan Marcano, the Spanish centre-back of Porto. Both players had pretty much identical records. Both had played 24 games. Both had kept 14 clean sheets. But I put Ruben Dias in there because he conceded less goals. He'd only conceded 14 goals in the games that he'd played. And Benfica are only 1 point behind Porto in the league. So that is my back line overall. And I'm quite scared now to see what centre-back you've gone for, because he's probably going to be in the top scorer in the league, Kieran.
I'm not going to mention it till I get to him. I've got to admit, we have definitely gone varying in our teams here.
Yes, it's very different. I've gone for, I mean, it just probably doesn't help because I've got a lot of subs in there as well, but very different options I've gone for, probably to the rest of you.
I like Ruben Semedo, but for me, he's been like a journeyman because I feel like every year he's at a different team, but he seems to have finally found a little bit of a home.
He has, yeah. He was at Villarreal before this, and then he actually got done for murder, I believe.
What?
So obviously Villarreal kicked him out the door. And he now plays at Olympiacos, and I do feel like that's probably helped to rejuvenate his career, considering the situation he found himself in.
Yeah,
Weird one.
I mean, if there's a team that has loyal fans that will take you under your wing even after all that, it's probably either the Turkish fans or the Greek fans.
Yeah, I think he picked a good place to go to rejuvenate himself as a player. In the midfield, I've gone for Taras Stepanenko. He is a club legend and leader at Shakhtar Donetsk. He's only played 18 games this season, but that's because Shakhtar and the Ukrainian League haven't played as many games as the rest, but he's kept 11 clean sheets. He's only conceded 9 goals this season in the games that he's played, with 1 assist. And the other player you won't know at all, he's called Peter Michol. He plays for Las Linz. Now, Las Linz are top of the Austrian Bundesliga and have in fact pretty much cemented the title because Salzburg have collapsed completely.
I tried to put one of them in, but I just couldn't find a place to fit him in.
It's tricky. It's tricky putting them in, but I thought I had to put him in because he plays as a CDM. He's 24. He scored 9. I think he's kept 9 clean sheets this season. He's only conceded 15 goals. He's scored 10 goals this season as a CDM.
It's not bad for a CDM.
A phenomenal record for a CDM.
I mean, combine that with your goals of your other technical CDM, which is Gregor, and you've got 2 good goal scorers there.
Exactly.
You not hear that whistling?
No,
I'll close my window just in case.
That's all right. In terms of the left centre midfielder, he's on his own. I've gone for Ruud Vormer. Now, I could have gone for Hans Vanaken, who scored 13 goals this season, but I've gone for the Dutch midfielder that plays at Club Brugge. He has assisted 15 times this season in the Belgian league. That's 7 more than any other player in the league, as Club Brugge dominate the Belgian league by 15 points. They're having one of the best seasons in the last decade at the club. And I think it's fair to say there could be more players in here. On the right-hand side, I've gone for Grzegorz Krychowiak, which you will remember for his time at PSG, his time at West Brom as well, that very short stint. Good old West Brom. He moved to the Polish League, of course, on loan, and then he moved there permanently this season. Now, since he's moved there, I put it in the fact section, he's scored more goals in his Lokomotiv Moscow than anywhere else in his career. He scored 12 goals in 66 games. He scored 120. He didn't score 128. That'd be ridiculous if he did. He's played 128 at. I think it was. I can't remember off the top of my head. Where was he before? It wasn't PSG. It was before that. Not at West Brom. Sevilla, that's it. He played at Sevilla, 128 games, scored 10 goals. So he's already got more goals in pretty much half of the games. This season, he scored 9 of them, assisting 4 goals. Lokomotiv Moscow is second in the Russian league, and they have their eyes on returning to the Champions League for the second consecutive season. And I'd be very surprised if none of you have gone for this guy, Dusan Tadic. Now, Dusan Tadic this season has scored 11 goals and assisted 14. That's the most in the Eredivisie this season. Obviously, Ajax went through that rebuild in the summer, losing players, getting a lot of their youngsters to come through the ranks. Dusan Tadic could easily say is now one of their most valuable assets at the club. Of course, recently been nominated in the list for the Ballon d'Or. Of course, he wasn't anywhere near it compared to the rest of the list, but it still means something if you're up there for the Ballon d'Or. He tried, bless him. He gave it a good go. And I mean, when you look at him at Southampton, he's got a hell of a lot better.
And I keep mentioning he's one of the only players ever to get a 10 from the keep. He's technically at the same level as Lionel Messi.
Exactly. If not, he's better than Lionel Messi. But that's a debate for another day, if you want to have that. And in terms of my attackers, on the left-hand side, I've gone for Jonathan David. Now, usually he is a forward. He plays at Ghent in the Belgian league. You'll probably know him. He's one of the biggest young stars in world football as of current. And it's scary that when you really think about it, Canada is going to have an absolutely nutty team if their youngsters keep going at the way that they are. This season, he scored 18 goals, 7 assists. He's only 20, and he will 100% not be at Ghent next season because surely one of the big clubs has got to pick him up. I mean, he's been linked with Bayern, Roma, Inter, you name them. They've all been linked to him.
They're going to have a dangerous left side, Canada, aren't they? Davis and David.
Honestly, it's scary to think that when you think of like the 2 Canadian players that stand out there are already looking ridiculously good at such a young age. The other left winger I've gone for, once again, he's a forward. It's called Shona Wiesman. Now, he is an Israeli striker, which I sat down and realised how many good Israeli strikers there really are. You think Zahavi, Daber, Belfodil, just to name a couple of them off the top of my head over the last couple of years. And this kid is becoming one of them. He's 24 in real life. He scored 22 goals and got 2 assists in the Austrian league. That's the highest of any goals and any goal contributions.
Does he play for Wolfsberger?
He does indeed.
I was close to putting him in my team.
I had to put him in there because Wolfsberger, they're sat down in 3rd or 4th, which is not too bad for them, but he's pretty much carried them this season in terms of goals. I think he's nearly scored 50% of their goals this season, so I had to put him in there. So that's my left-hand side, which fair play to him.
One of my players is carrying them as well.
Oh, God, really? Jesus.
Yeah. I'll get to it.
Right wing, Pizzi. Now, once again, if you haven't picked Pizzi, I'd be very, very surprised because he's been ridiculously overpowered as a player for Benfica for years now. In terms of he's not as appreciated as much as other players in the league. He's got 14 goals and 8 assists. He nearly leads both the top goal scorers and assisters in the league, which is just unbelievable for someone who plays on the right. He's not even in the middle. So he's in there, and I think he should be in everyone's. And then I've gone for Steven Berghuis, which, of course, you'll remember his time at Watford. It was very short and very shit, to put it very nicely to him. But he's gone to Feyenoord, and he's rejuvenated himself. In fact, Feyenoord are fighting for the title. They are only a couple of points behind AZ Alkmaar and Ajax. And this season, he's got 15 goals and 7 assists. Very similar to Pizzi. He's nearly in the top goal scorers and assisters in the Eredivisie. And I do feel like he will 100% be picked for Euro 2021 if he keeps his form up, because, of course, with Robin retiring and other players having injuries, and obviously it all depends on the next year, I do think Berghuis will be up there. And finally, strikers-wise, Odsonne Edouard of Celtic, 21 goals and 9 assists this season for Celtic. One of the highest goal contributions in the biggest leagues in the world, which is just unbelievable when you think about it. I mean, once again, I think it's going to be like a Moussa Dembele situation. Celtic won't be able to keep hold of him for too long before some of the big clubs keep calling. And finally, very similar to Steven Berghuis, Alexander Soloff. You'll remember him for his time at Crystal Palace. Very short, very shit, but he's gone to Trabzonspor in Turkey, and he's absolutely been unbelievable. 19 goals and 7 assists in the Super League. He's got the 5th most assists in the Super League in Turkey, which is just unbelievable. And I think there's no doubts that when his loan deals are over, they will definitely try and sign him. So that's my team overall for the rest of the world.
Well, Chris Welch said Crystal Palace rejects Saul. Watch him join a big club always happens. Bernardo, I never knew Alfonso Davies was Canadian. Chris Welch again. Do you think Jonathan David would be snatched away by one of the big clubs? And would Edouard be a good sign for Arsenal as he's been linked to him? What do you think of them?
David, 100% yes. There's no way that Ghent is 20. There's no way that Ghent could keep a hold of him. It's the type of situation where if enough money comes their way, they just cannot refuse it, to be honest. I mean, as I said, Bayern Munich have been linked with him, Inter, Roma, teams like that, they're looking at him. And when you've got a youngster who is not going under the radar and he's getting a lot of attention worldwide, you just can't keep a hold of him. Yeah. The Edouard situation, yeah, why not? Give him a go. I'd like to see him in the Premier League, to be honest. I think he's built quite strong as a player, Edouard.
Do you think Arsenal have got not too many strikers, but you've already got Lacazette and Aubameyang there already?
I was about to say, I think
do you think it's okay? Do you think he gets lost in the shuffle?
One of them will go. You've got to think that. You've got to look at the situation and think you've got to prepare, because Aubameyang is already, obviously, we know that he's probably, he doesn't sound the happiest with Arsenal. I mean, whether that's true or not, we don't know, but he's getting on age-wise. You know, he's only going to have a season or 2 left before they'll try and ship him on to get some money back. Quite frankly, I don't see Aubameyang retiring at Arsenal. And Lacazette as well has been a bit poor recently. I mean, he's not happy. He wants Champions League football. And I think, to be honest, it all depends on how Arsenal are at the end of the season. If they've got a Champions League spot, everything changes. You know, Aubameyang and Lacazette get what they want. Maybe nothing ever happens. But I think I look at Edouard. He's bulky. He's fast. He's bulky. And I feel like he'd be the perfect fit for the Premier League if it's not Arsenal. Yeah. So I'd like to see him in the Premier League at some point. But you know what Celtic are like. It takes a lot. They're not a team that will let go of someone easily. I mean, you look at the Dembele situation where he had to force his way out. And I think Edouard will have... I think they've already tried starting a contingency plan where he signs a contract for another 2 seasons and then they have to let him go. So they are getting prepared for it.
Mm-hmm.
They are getting prepared for it.
It'll be interesting.
But that's my team. Some very different picks in there. We'll go over to Kieran Dean's team now. Now, he's not here, unfortunately, so I will very quickly go through his team. I've got a couple of stats down just to reinvigorate the players that he's put in there.
Yeah.
So very, very different to mine overall.
The team looks like it's been involved in like a war zone. Why are they so far back?
They are very far back. I mean, Anana's miles out of his net. If my team was playing him, they'd chip him by now, and they've scored. So easy goals there. He started with Anana in goal of Ajax. 24 games played this season, 21 goals conceded, only 8 clean sheets in the league though. In that situation, so I mean, he's one of the least amount of goals conceded in the league, and of course Ajax do sit top of the league, so it's not just about the clean sheets. It is about the Yep, you pack him every week on FIFA in your 100k packs, which you'll get tomorrow in your rewards. He's gone for left back, of course. Alex Telles, we've already talked about him. 16 goals conceded, 8 goals scored in Liga NOS. His 2 centre-backs, he's gone for Domagoj Vida of Besiktas. He's played 25 games this season. Only 8 clean sheets, 31 goals conceded, 4 goals scored, which I thought was a bit of an interesting pick.
I'll let him off because I love Domagoj Vida. I think someone should have picked him up off the Euros before this World Cup. So what Euros would that have been? Euro 2016.
2016, yeah.
I don't know why he wasn't linked with more teams. I know he was linked with Arsenal. I don't know why anyone didn't gamble and pick him up. And he backed that up at the World Cup by being a solid centre-back. Because, I mean, he's got to work alongside Dejan Lovren, so he deserves all the credit in the world.
And now he's got to work alongside Lloris Karius in goal. Hey! Have fun on that one.
I think Vida deserves a lot more credit because he is a brilliant centre-back.
He's a brute. And he's one of those centre-backs which I look at and he's quite scary just because of his build. As a centre-back, he's a brute. To put it nicely.
He seems to be, politely, like one of them players which will kick you if you're down.
Oh, yeah, and he'll keep kicking you until he gets booked.
Like, he'll elbow you on corners even though the ball's not... Yeah, like proper old-school tactic.
He's not a dirty player, but he's a tactical player.
I agree with that. He's very tactical defensively.
Yeah, he's very Vinnie Jonesy for me.
Yeah.
But he settles it down a bit more, obviously.
Then that's probably one of the reasons why Kieran D's picked him in there. He's right centre-back. He's gone for Daley Blind. Okay. Now, of course, you'll be aware he did have the heart condition, which kept him out. But he only actually missed 5 or 6 games in the league.
He played 20 games this season.
20 games, yeah.
Well, in the league.
7 clean sheets, 16 goals conceded, and 1 assist.
I think that's a United bias, that. I'll be honest.
No, I don't.
It's only 5 less than Domagoj Vida's played.
It's a feel-good story, I think, for Daley Blind.
But we're picking feel-good players, or we're picking team of the seasons, Kieran.
I'll defend Daley Blind. I'm glad he's well.
Oh, yeah, obviously, but in terms of thinking, like, if we're going to feel good, I'll put Peter Olyinka in, Mitchell Duke.
I get it. He doesn't deserve it, but I'm trying to give you reasoning. I'm trying to defend it.
I mean, realistically, when you look at it, 20 games played, 7 clean sheets. He's nearly kept 50% clean sheets in the game he's played, which is pretty good when you think of it in that respect. But of course, in terms of the team, he's the one that's played the least games altogether. Of course, obviously, with having that heart condition. But the feel-good thing is that he's back playing now. He's all good, and hopefully he can keep carrying on football without having this condition creeping back up again. So fair play to him on that one.
I'm glad he's back, but I don't think he should be there.
And he's perfectly justifiable. Like, in my opinion, I don't think he should be there as well. But when you look stats-wise, if you doubled the games and said he got 40 games played, 14 clean sheets, you'd probably look at that and think, probably wouldn't deserve it. But each to their own. Each to their own in that one.
Each to their own, for sure.
Each to their own. He's gone for Sean Kleiber, right back. He is the Dutch fullback of FC Utrecht in the Eredivisie. This season he's played 24 games. He's only kept 5 clean sheets and he's conceded 31. But I think Kieran's gone down the same route as me. He scored 4 goals and got 4 assists.
Or he's got a couple of informs, because I know he does.
He's got 2 informs this season on FIFA. So
that's the reason.
There you go.
We'll move on.
Of course, he's gone very, very similar to me in midfield with Grzegorz Krychowiak of Lokomotiv Moscow. 20 games played, 9 goals and 4 assists. Of course, obviously, the Russian league goes on that big winter break. So I think he's perfectly justifiable in that sense as to why he can still get in. He's gone for Hans Vanaken on the left-hand side. I talked about him earlier. 29 games played, 13 goals and 3 assists. And I believe he broke a record not long ago as well, Hans Vanaken. I can't remember what the record was, but it was
more consecutive years with 10+ goals. I feel he's always up there in Bruges or something like that.
He's right up there every season, and it honestly wouldn't surprise me. It's crazy, isn't it? That he's always in the team of the season every single year, but he never gets any informs.
He's like the epitome of consistency. He really is.
100%. And he's in there in Kieran's team as well. On the right-hand side, he's gone for Nikola Vlasic, the ex-Everton midfielder.
He's got 1 on FIFA.
Kieran will have flashbacks to his red pick not too long ago with Nikola Vlasic, trying to guess him. But no, jokes aside, 22 games played, 7 goals and 4 assists. Of course, once again, the Russian league being on that winter break means that they miss out on more games than the rest. And then attack-wise, of course, on the left-hand side, Carlos Vela, because of last season, 34 goals in 31 games and 12 assists. Of course, breaking the MLS record for the most goals in a season, beating Joseph Martinez's 31 last year. On the right-hand side, Calvin Stengs of his Alkmaar. He's played 25 games, 5 goals and 8 assists, 2 informs on FIFA. And up top,
Bella's got a player of the month last night.
Very, very true. He's got another inform. He's got 2 informs actually, as well.
He's got one who doesn't have a team of the week.
And Vedat Mariki. He's putting there with Fenerbahce. 25 games played, 13 goals and 5 assists. The Kosovan, 24 years of age and doing very well in the Super League. So that is Kieran D's rest of the world team of the season. Very, very different to mine. And we'll now see yours, Kieran. Now
it's going to be different to everyone's. It's going to be a bit strange.
I think it's good because the thing about the rest of the world is because there's so many leagues, everyone's going to pick different.
Yeah.
The goalkeeper is being subbed out. Balayev is just not cutting it for me. He's out.
Who are you putting in?
Tenenbaum.
Okay.
He plays for Maccabi Tel Aviv. He has played 26 games this season, 21 clean sheets, and has conceded 7. He's conceded 7 goals in 26 games.
I mean, I don't know about the league, but fair play to him.
I remember Maccabi Tel Aviv used to be in the Champions. I feel like they did.
Yes, they used to be in the Champions League, Maccabi Tel Aviv.
They're from the Israeli league, but yeah, to play 26 games and concede 7, get in there, Tenenbaum, you beautiful man.
Will Peake, by the way, is frankly livid that Skinner Skirtle hasn't got in.
Well, sorry.
I was going to say, before you carry on, I was going to say, do you want to read a couple of comments out because we missed quite a few?
Yeah, go on then. I'll read a couple out.
Sorry, Kieran.
No, it always happens. Go on.
I mean, Bernaldo's put Kieran D has a nice selection, looks familiar. Because actually, we have got to look at Gareth Bernaldo's later on. He sent me one in, so we'll look at his in a little bit. And then Will Peake says, got to feel for Vida, club or country, his teammates are clowns.
Yeah, not wrong.
And then Will's asked if anyone's picked Ryan Kent.
No. And no one's picked up Edo Morelos either.
No.
And no one's picked Wissam Ben Yedder.
No.
All right, let's go. Let's go.
Right.
Go for it.
In net, Tenenbaum, right, basically, he's played 26 games and he's conceded 7 goals. At right back, are you all right, Rowan? Do you just want to...
No, I'm fine. Go, carry on. I'm listening.
Do you know what I feel like an old school teacher where you just like, go on, tell all the class. Go on.
Well, do you want me to tell the class?
What's funny? Come
on. Just our co-host, that's all. But carry on.
Oh, right. Right back is a man called Mohammed. He plays for Alayan FC in, I think, United Arab Emirates. He's played 17 games this season, 12 assists. He's got the same amount of assists, I think, as Trent Alexander-Arnold. Why is no one talking about
Gareth, call him up.
Call him up, Mr. Mohammed. Centre-back, we've gone with Soto, who plays for Perez Zeledon in Costa Rica.
Oh, wow.
He's gone really all out with the rest of the world here.
Yeah, 35 games played, 13 goals. What a player from centre-back. He created more goals than your centre-back. So,
has he got the assists, though? Has he got 7 assists?
Well, I didn't check that.
There you go.
With my defenders, I didn't even go with clean sheets. Scrap the clean sheets. Next to him is Sanchez, who plays for Monterrey in Mexico. 33 games, 9 goals. He's nearly got double figures for the season from centre-back.
That's unbelievable, that, isn't it?
How many informs has he got, though?
I don't even know. I've not looked at informs. Left back is Alex Tellez because everyone got Alex Tellez, and I had to put him in. I should have gone with someone else from the Qatar League, but I left it. Midfield, we'll start with David because he's been in other people's teams. 18 goals for a 20-year-old. It's impressive. Vanaken, 13 goals, 3 assists, and he's always up there. Now, Liendo is, I'm presuming, Weissman's supplier because he plays for Wolfsberger as well, and he's played 22 games and got 16 assists.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It must be him and Weissman that just love playing with each other. And he's also chipped in with 5 goals.
What league of Wolfsberger in again?
They're in the Austrian league as well.
Oh, they were. I didn't want to say it because I was wrong.
And then we'll go with the familiar players. The back four's made up of misfits, but we'll go forward. And we've got James Forrest from Celtic, who's got 10 goals and 17 assists. We've got Pizzi, 14 goals, 8 assists. And up front, Andre Pierre Gignac, who at 34 years old has played, I think it's 29 games, got 20 goals and 5 assists. I was close with Edouard, I was close with Weissman, but I thought Gignac at 34, still rocking it for the oldies.
He's unbelievable. He's one of those players that we always say all the time that just get better with age.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think that they signed him all those years ago from Marseille and he's still the poster boy of the league.
When I hear him, I always think of Giroud, and I don't know. I just imagine them, Giroud and him up front. Don't have a clue why. I just feel like they're the most dangerous strike force.
Benaldo, by the way, he's put in the comments, he's checked the clean sheets this season worldwide. The most is by an Azerbaijan team. So,
Jesus.
There we go.
Right, hold up. Balayev does play in net in Azerbaijan. I'm not saying
that could be the one. That could be the one.
Them, but I did replace Balayev with Tenenbaum because 7 goals conceded in 26 games. It's brilliant from the man in Maccabi Tel Aviv. It really is. I love my team.
I mean, that's nutty, isn't it? That's crazy when you think about it.
Creating this was the most fun I'd had throughout the whole of the team. Because who thought Soto had 13 goals?
13 goals as a centre-back. He hasn't got the 7 assists. He hasn't got the 7 assists as Coop Miners, though, has he?
No, he hasn't. He's a bit selfish. He is Soto.
Right then.
Sorry, Mohamed at right back loves an assist with 12.
Why has Liverpool not bought him? Liverpool, if you need a right back, you should be watching this podcast because Mohamed is your man. When Alexander-Arnold moves on, he's in.
He played 17. Alexander-Arnold's played more than that. So get him in your team.
That's nutty, isn't it? That's absolutely nutty. That is Kieren L's rest of the world team of the season.
I like his. You've got very different.
Very, very different. I like the option Gignac as well. I do think it's a good choice.
I like the defence. He's got something completely different.
I think, to be honest, that team would absolutely siege the opposition. I'm not going to lie. It really would.
What with goals? Just endless goals.
Yeah, just put the opposition under siege. That would be my
We'll go on to Rowan's team now. Of course, I said before, Rowan's gone for a mix of EFL and rest of the world for this one.
So without
further ado, there you go, Rowan.
Okay, I didn't get the memo, all right? But let me off.
Underneath it, I like that.
Well, yeah, because I was not doing subs, I'll be honest with you. So, yeah, I've gone for Bizot in net. Josh mentioned him earlier. When I checked, AZ Alkmaar had the best clean sheet record in Europe, but obviously if Azerbaijan there, I'm guessing out of the top Europe leagues that are not your main 5, I think AZ Alkmaar have got the best, so he deserves to be in there. In rap, I've gone for Karaviv for Zenit. Only conceded 10 goals this season, the whole team, so I thought I'd have to put one in there. I needed a right back, so I went for him. A centre back, I've gone for Markau for Galatasaray. 20 goals conceded in the league, not good, but it's 5 goals less than the others. You could also, at right back, you could have, I don't know how to spell it, Mariano, as well, because him and Markau are on similar defensive type of records. Other centre back, I've got Ben White for Leeds. I think a Leeds player needed to be in there in defence. They've got the best defensive record in the league. From when I checked, they had the least goals conceded. And Ben White played the most games for Leeds, so that's why I put him in. Showing consistency centre backs. Left back, I've gone Alex Tellez. With all of us have had him in.
Tellez, yeah.
Obviously, he's looking there. His performances are leading him to looking to get a move at Leicester. And I think he does deserve it. Sort of CDM, I've gone for Thomas Souček. I have to put him in. He's a Slavia Praga boy.
Another man that's now in West Ham in this team, by the way.
And a West Ham boy, but his performance at the start of the season with Slavia Praga, they went unbeaten. He was really the main catalyst for it. Not many goals and assists, but he was controlling the game for him. And obviously his 6 month performance at the start of the season allowed him to move to West Ham. He's done all right, but I've cost him his rest of the world. We'll go on the right mid. I've gone for Harriet Bowen, the legend of the Sports Corner. If you look at where Hull were at when Bowen was there, I know this is going to be hard for you, Kieran. If you look at where Hull at, were they 6 points off playoffs or something stupid like that?
I've got no memory of the past.
They were very close to the playoffs.
Post-December, I've got no idea what's going on.
They were very close to the playoffs with Bowen and Grzycki in the team. And then when they left, Bowen got his move to the Premier League. Hull have, no offence, gone down. They've got the top of the slide, and they thought they ruled the slide. They thought they ruled the slide. They were not letting anyone down, letting anyone up. Someone's come below, pushed them down it, and now they're close to relegation.
I'll be honest.
So
You like analogies. I think we were a Jenga tower. And Grisicky
Jenga tower is the best way to describe
And
it. They were holding the tower up and it just collapsed, didn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Left mid, I've gone for Charlie Kirk. He's got the most assists in League Two for Crew.
Crew, Andrew.
It's also great name. I love the name Kirk. Kirk reminds me of the Shut Up Coronation Street character. Cam, I didn't know who to put, so I actually went for James Forrest for Celtic. He's got the top assist in the Scottish League, and I've gone for Owen Doyle in League Two. I think he's actually got his move away from Bradford, but he's got the most goals in League Two. And for someone who has always been touted as being this great player, I'm surprised he's never got up one of that big move into a top championship side. I remember when we had him, that is Oldham, he was okay, and then he left, and he's just ruled League Two and League One. So, yeah. Right striker, I've gone for Ivan Toney. He's top goal scorer in League One. I haven't actually had many championship players, which I probably regret. But yeah, Toney is striker. League One, you could have maybe, is it Ogbene? Who's your striker who scored goals for Rotherham, Josh? Ladapo. Freddie, how should I know that from Oldham?
Freddie Ladapo.
You could put Freddie Ladapo then as well. He scored in key moments of sort of kept your playoff or promotion hopes there. And at left striker, as much as I wanted to put Mitchell Duke there, I've gone for McLaren. He's the top goal scorer in the A-League. Is the reason why Melbourne City is so high. Obviously, he can't score against Western Sydney Wanderers, but we'll...
I don't think I've seen any of their players can, to be honest.
But yeah, Melbourne City are doing really well this season, and it's due to McLaren.
I like that mixture. I think it's quite good, actually.
I like the fact that you've actually got 12 men because you're classing Forrest and Doyle as one player.
Yeah, you fuse them together.
Yeah.
Why not? I have 12 players on the team. I mean, plenty of goals there. I mean, Ivan Toney, of course, 24, I think. Doyle with 25. Forrest has got the assists in the bag. I mean, Forrest and Doyle, if you mix them together, that'd be very ridiculously good play, wouldn't it?
And Kirk's got the assist on the wing as well. I think he's got 14 assists.
Souček and Bowen can link up. They know each other.
Great, I told you. And McLaren's there. He's got the Australian wit. We're all good.
Perfectly devised team.
McLaren has got the race car. You know, he's a race car.
Oh, yeah, you had to get one joke in, didn't you?
Can I kick him?
So that is Rowan's EFL and rest of the world team this season. Now, obviously, because these are fused together, it means Rowan won't be in the next one. But if you do have any players throughout Rowan that you can think of that you would have put in your team, then
this is championship. Well, yeah, other EFL, yeah, that's one.
So we're going to the EFL one now. Now, for the EFL one, of course, I've got a team. Kieran's got a team. Kieran D is all championship for this one, but he'll be on a little bit later.
1 and 2.
Yeah, so it's just me and you on Kieran.
Gareth Benaldo's as well.
Now, quite funnily enough, you've timed that absolutely perfectly well. Because before we go on to the EFL team of the season, a certain person, Gareth Benaldo, very nice to send me a message a day or two ago with his team. Now, he's produced a team as well, a rest of the world team of the season that he believes deserves to be in there. So he's gone for a couple of very different players in there.
Nice as well.
So as you can see, he's gone for Dani Alves. Of course, he's playing at Sao Paulo in the Brazilian league right now in real life. Plays as a centre midfielder, which would be ridiculously overpowered on FIFA. He's gone for Pepe of Porto, of course. Porto having a ridiculously good season at the top of the Liga NOS. He's gone for Hakim Ziyech as well, of course, moving to Chelsea next season. And Van der Beek, both of the Ajax midfielders connected together.
Gabby Goal as well.
Yep, Gabby Barbosa. Of course, nutty season he's had in the Brazilian league. Of course, taking them ridiculously far, winning the Copa Libertadores, going to the FIFA Club World Cup. Really, really testing Liverpool in those games. So there's a couple of different players in Gav Ronaldo's team compared to the rest of us. I like the addition of Dani Alves. It's very, very different.
I like that his fullbacks are on the wrong side. He's got Telles playing at right back and Dani Alves playing at left. It's
Spice it up a little bit.
If I look at it like this, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
I like that James Forrest is in there.
He's going for chemistry with Pepe and Telles.
Sorry,
but he could just flip them around.
Yeah, forget that. Yeah.
But no, he's gone down a very South American side for this one.
I like it though. I forgot about Donny van de Beek.
Yeah, very underrated Donny van de Beek this season. I think obviously you look at Donny van de Beek and you think he's probably the next player to leave Ajax in the near future, as their constant cycle of youngsters come and go pretty much. I mean, in fact, I was looking at Ajax's stats. The top goal scorer this season for him is Quincy Promes. So it's quite interesting. They're relying on the older players this season than the youngsters.
They lack an out-and-out striker for me.
Yeah, they've had that problem for quite a while now, to be honest.
Yeah, Huntelaar's just not doing it. I mean, you can play Ziyech at centre-forward if you want, or you can play Tadic at centre-forward, but you haven't got a striker.
And that's how they've been playing, to be honest. They've been playing Tadic as a centre-forward, and realistically, you can do that in the Eredivisie, but if this was a different league, it would not work. Not in the slightest.
Unless you are the best team by a mile. Like, it works. I remember when Pep implemented it and he had David Silva or maybe Bernardo in that hole. It works, but that's because they've spent billions to make their team great.
Yeah. And it proves with the Champions League as well, how they were in the Europa League and got knocked out. It just proved they were lacking the goals. Of course, getting knocked out by Getafe in the Europa League. So it proves that if they're going to continue to build as a club, they desperately need a striker. But thank you very much, Gareth Bernaldo, for that team.
Yeah, TSC Bernaldo now.
It is indeed. He's changed his name.
I was trying to look at the Ajax Academy, but I don't know who's actually runs it. Youth Academy.
I think Van der Sar quite as a heavy. Yeah, it's a lot of their older players, like Mark Overmars, Van der Sar. They've got a lot of running of the club, but I don't exactly know who runs the the youngsters academy side and things like that.
It just says who they've produced: so Cruyff, Van Basten, Rijkaard, Kieft, Bergkamp, and Kluivert. So
they've produced a lot of players. I mean, even beyond that, you go for like Ibrahimovic, Huntelaar, Schneider, Hullet. Some crazy players they've produced over the years, and even long may continue.
Even like Frankie de Jong, not Van Beek.
Matthijs de Ligt.
There you go.
Okay, you could even realistically, you could still say Van der Beek is quite a talent, and obviously the moving to Chelsea and players like that moving on. They've got a great side. They've got a really good side. They need a striker to get the goals, but I guess the way that Ajax work, quite frankly, I think in the league they're all right. They can play it no problem because the rest of the league's just not going to be as strong as other clubs abroad. But I guess we'll find out over time with Ajax. Of course, it's always interesting. You feel like when they lose their big players, they'll drop, but they never do, just because of how they play. So we'll move on to the EFL team of the season now. We're going in the same order once again for this one. I'll start with my team. Kieran Dees will be second, which I'll talk you through that one very briefly. Kieran L's will be the last one because Rowan's already had EFL. It was a fusion in there. It was a fusion, a very good one. So we start with my EFL team of the season. So I'll just very quickly get my sets of notes up for this one while you have a quick gander at the team. There we go, all sorted. Ooh. Now, I've started in net with Kiko Casilla, and the reason why I've gone for Kiko Casilla is because, of course, we're going at the point of the team of the season where we're at now. Now, of course, when the league does get back underway, he'll get shifted straight out because, quite frankly, the rest of the teams in the league will just get more clean sheets while he still obviously faces his suspension for his alleged incident against Charlton. So currently, he's actually tied for the most clean sheets in the EFL with Christy Penn. They've both got 15 clean sheets. But I think as time goes on, especially if the EFL comes back, he'd come out of the side and I'd put in Brice Samba of Nottingham Forest in there. Purely just because, of course, Kiko Casilla won't get to play any more games this season. So he won't get any more clean sheets and the rest of the EFL will just continue up and up and up. So if I had to pick somebody else to go in there, it would be Samba of Nottingham Forest. At left back, I've gone for... Oh, well, actually, I've got to talk about Christy Pym. He's in a pretty much similar position. 15 clean sheets this season for Peterborough United. He's impressed across the league. I genuinely think that is better than Daniel Iverson, which is Rotherham's goalkeeper. Goalkeeper. I think he's a quality goalkeeper. And if Peterborough don't go up this season, I do think there'll be a lot of interest for Christy Pym, no matter his age. He's just a quality goalkeeper. On the left side, left back, I've gone for Josh Ruffles of Oxford United. They are a very, very undermined team this season in League One. They've come out of absolutely nowhere to sit third, only a very short amount of points behind Rotherham United in second. And Josh Ruffles has been playing left back. He's had 35 games this season, 14 clean sheets. They've conceded 36 goals when Ruffles played all those games, which I think for 35 games is pretty quality. 3 goals and 4 assists for the fullback, which is why I put Josh Ruffles in there. At right back, I had 2 options. I had Fankity Dabo of Coventry, but I haven't put him in there because I've already got a other Coventry centre back. So I went for Luke Ayling of Leeds instead. 27 games this season, 13 clean sheets. Only conceding 25 goals, 4 goals and 4 assists he's claimed so far in the EFL. I think Leeds, of course, we've already talked about how well defensively they are. Fantastic season for them so far. And Ayling's one of the reasons as to why. There is another Leeds defender in there just because of how well they've played. I put Ben White in there. You could have put Liam Cooper in, but I think, in my opinion, if there has been one of the biggest standout defenders across the entire EFL this season, Ben White is one of them. Stats-wise, one of the most impressive in the EFL. He's not actually Leeds player either. 37 games played, 17 clean sheets, only conceding 30 goals within those 37 games, which is just phenomenal for Leeds. Realistically, you look at Leeds and you think they had that very short stint where they were losing games and people thought they'd bottle it. But you actually look stats-wise, they've been even better than they were last season. They've been phenomenal in the Championship, especially defensively. I mean, he's on loan from Brighton, and quite frankly, I don't see Leeds getting him back next season just because of the amount of interest that will come from other clubs across England, or if even Brighton want to keep him in the first place. So Ben White, fantastic loan spell for him, and being one of the best defenders across England this season. And on the right-hand side, I've gone for Michael Rose. Of course, I said I was going to pick Coventry centre-back. I have 31 games, 13 clean sheets, 28 goals conceded. He's got 2 goals and 1 assist. I mean, Coventry this season, they've only lost 3 or 4 games. They've been unbelievable in League One. Very quiet in the way that they've come up. They've slowly crept up the league, picking up points. And quite frankly, they genuinely look unstoppable right now, and I think they will go on to claim the League One title. Midfield-wise, on the left-hand side, I've gone for Matt Crooks of Rotherham United. It was either between him or Barlaser. Both play for Rotherham United.
I'm surprised that you haven't put a Rotherham player in yet.
I don't think this one's an agenda, this one. I put Crooks in there because he scored 9 goals and got 4 assists this season, which is one of the highest goal rates of a midfielder in the EFL. I would have put Barlaser in there, but he's not played as many games as Crooks, so I thought I'll put Crooks in there instead. But realistically, you could have put either of them in. Rotherham played very well this season, second in the league. I mean, League One is very, very tight. But if goals have helped, Matt Crooks has certainly been up there goals-wise for a midfielder, which is just crazy. I've gone for Matis Pereira next to him. He's played in various positions for West Brom this season, and he's been their star man. 6 goals and 13 assists in the Championship. There's no doubts that he will not come back to West Brom next season. I think Sporting, which is where he's on loan from, I think he'll go straight into their side next season.
One thing I'm surprised with, that we haven't put any Coventry players in defence. I don't think
I have.
Have you? Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I can't remember whether you said they were, because they've only lost 3 games this season.
Yeah, that's why I put Michael Rose in there. I mean, 31 games, 13 clean sheets it's a phenomenal record. Very, very undermined.
No one's put a team player in, and then you said your other players. I was going to put Zach Burnley in, because technically in League Two he's got the most goal to game ratio time, because there was like 3 games where he scored 5 goals or something.
Jeez.
But I mean, I'm considering just putting him as a right back. That's
crazy though, isn't it, for a right back?
Yeah.
It's a stunning record. Talking about goals, there's Anthony Sarcevic as well. Now, it's surprising to find that the joint 4th player with the highest goal contributions in League Two is Sarcevic. but because he scored more goals than he's got assists for a midfielder, which is bizarre. 10 goals and 6 assists for third place Plymouth Argyle of League Two. I don't think Plymouth Argyle ever expected to even be in a playoff spot and fighting for promotion.
No.
So mental side this season. And honestly, they've got to have one player in there.
I would say so, because they only got relegated last year.
I guess you could say so, but
you look at relegated teams and sometimes they just don't bounce back. Look at Oldham. When we got relegated, we finished 18th, I'm pretty confident.
It's crazy, isn't it? You look at Sunderland as well.
Yeah. Well, where is Sunderland currently in League One? They
are fifth or sixth, I think. Seventh. There you go.
Joint with Peterborough.
I mean, it's ridiculously tight in League One. Anyway, so like points wise, even at the seventh, I think they're only like 2 or 3 points off second.
From 8th till 3rd, there's 1 point in it, and then with 8th till 1st, it's 8 points. Yeah, 8 points.
It's just crazily tight down there. And I mean, obviously Coventry's got a game in hand as well, as far as I'm aware, if I'm correct.
Coventry have got 2 games. Rotherham, Oxford, Portsmouth, Fleetwood, Peterborough have 1 game. Because Sunderland have played 36, where I'm guessing, and Sunderland played 36, where most teams have played 35 or 34.
There we go. So it just shows how tight League One is. Moving on into the Championship, of course, I've missed out another midfielder, John Swift. I don't think anybody would have probably picked him out. I picked him in this squad because he's been a major difference for Reading this season as they've looked to keep their place in the Championship. The former Chelsea midfielder has got 5 goals and 10 assists. He's contributed to over 30% of Reading's goals this season. We know Reading in the past have been fighting for playoff spots and promotions. Now they're fighting for survival pretty much every season. And quite luckily, they're down towards the mid-table section, so they should be all right. And one of the reasons as to why is certainly because of 24-year-old John Swift. And attack-wise, I've got Colin Grant on the left-hand side. Now, Huddersfield, once again, they've struggled this season. Of course, coming down from the Premier League, not having the expectations of going straight back up again. But Colin Grant has been stunning for them. 16 goals and 4 assists. You take those. There you go, top 5. You take those contributions away, Huddersfield would be much lower down and probably still fighting for survival. But once again, I think it's safe to say they could quite easily stay up based on Colin Grant's contributions. And I've also gone for Ollie Watkins as well. I just could not leave him out, so I put him at left wing. I mean, he was incredible at Exeter City a couple of years ago. He was the League Two Player of the Year before he left Exeter, and then Brentford picked him up. And you could quite easily say he's up there for the Championship Player of the Year as well. 22 goals, 2 assists. I love Ollie Watkins. He's such a good player, and it wouldn't surprise me if a Premier League lower team tried to pick him up in the near future.
I mean, while we're on the talk of Championship, I was just thinking, you haven't put Mitrovic in there. And, no. He's the top goal scorer, 23 goals, only 1 assist, but he's the top goal scorer. I know he's on the by a goal.
I'll be honest, he's not in mine either because I've watched him play twice this year and I've seen him and he's absolutely useless.
But then I suppose you've got to look at how Owen Doyle and Ivan Toney are playing. And that just says everything in terms of like your top league strikers. Sorry.
That's why I've put them in. I'll talk about Doyle and Toney now. I mean, obviously, Ewan Doyle, 25 goals, 5 assists. He's got the most goals in the EFL, the most goal contributions in the EFL. He's just absolutely a stunning player. And I mean, of course, they had issues with him staying at Swindon. They sorted them out, so he's there now permanently. They had Jerry Yates, which is formerly our player. We sent him back as well, and those two have contributed very, very well together to get goals and assists and things like that for Swindon Town. So I had to put Ewan Doyle in there. And Ivan Toney as well, once again, very similar to me, to Ollie Watkins as the type of player which surely if Peterborough don't go up next season, there's got to be a Championship club that's going to pick him up, because 24 goals in League One, 29 goal contributions. He's got second most in the EFL. I'd be surprised if nobody goes and picks him up if Peterborough don't go up. Although I do have to say, Peterborough are a very, very fun side to watch just for the amount of goals they've scored this season. In fact, I believe they've scored the most goals in the entire EFL. So fun side to watch when they do play. And on the right-hand side, I've gone for Liam Feeney of Blackpool. Blackpool are a bloody weird side. Fantastically great up top, ridiculously bad in defence. If they sorted that out, they would have probably been up there for the playoffs and promotions. In fact, I think their goal difference is +1 in the league. They have Liam Feeney, who's in my side, 14 assists in the League One, which is tied with the most in the EFL altogether. They've got Janandwile. He's up there in the top scorers. I think there's another player up there in the top assists. It's such a confusing side because they don't need to improve attackingly. If they got that defence sorted out, they would have been well up there this season. But unfortunately, they sit 13th in League One. So fair play to their attack for saving them. And my last player I've picked in there, Charlie Kirk. He leads the most assists in League Two. He's got 14 assists, goal contributions, 7 goals as well. On top of his impressive assist tally. Crew Alexandra, they sit on top of League Two, thanks to the help of Kirk this season. So that is my EFL team this season altogether.
I agree. It's a good one.
Very different. I mean, I said, as you said earlier, Roman, I could have picked out Mitrovic, but I think the Doyle and Tony have just done miles better. I think you could give a case and say, well, you could take Watkins out for Mitrovic, but the reason why I haven't put Mitrovic in there is because Fulham are expected to go straight up, and they haven't. No one expected Brentford to be where they were.
I had them winning the league.
Well, Brentford.
I made a predictions before the year started, and I think it was them, Leeds, and Fulham, the three.
I think if you looked all together, I don't think many people would expect them. I think you'd have looked at teams like Huddersfield and said, yeah, they'll still die. But I think Fulham were expected to be up there. Leeds, of course, expected to be up there. West Brom, expected to be up there. You even look at teams like Sheffield Wednesday, you'd expect them to be in the playoff spots. Teams like that. And I think it's been an interesting league season because you see teams like Stoke, who are still struggling. Obviously, Hull, since the players you lost have not been as good. And just there's been a lot of teams that were expected to be towards promotion that have just fell off a cliff after Christmas.
The reason Brentford is because Benrahma, unbelievable.
Saeed Benrahma's quality on his day.
Mbeumo, unbelievable. Ollie Watkins, unbelievable. In midfield, you've got Matthias Jensen. They don't even play Makotjo. They've added to the back with Pontus Jansson. I mean, to be fair, that's why Brentford, they have everything in place to go up this year, and it's their last year at Griffin Park.
Yep, so they really should go all out.
Yeah, I think if the league continues, I genuinely, as I predicted at the start of the season, I think Brentford are going up.
Do you think?
As I say, at the start of the season, I had them to win the league. I think that was a bit too much on my part. Maybe I should have settled it down a little bit.
Do you think they'd go up by playoffs or automatic?
This year now, looking at them now, playoffs. Looking at them then, I would have had them going up automatically. I had Leeds going up by the playoffs, I think.
Where did you have West Brom to go up as well?
Yeah, Fulham win the playoffs, not West Brom. No, was it? Either Fulham or West Brom. I can't remember between them two where I had them.
I mean, it's been a very good. We always say, but the Championship's always a fun league to watch at the end of the day. And once again, it's been fun, sensational. I mean, some quality plays in there, but I just think for me, Mitrovic doesn't fit in because once again, I completely forgot. Obviously, Fulham, they were expected to go straight back up after spending all that money, and they've not been as impressive, but they are still up there and well within their rights to fight for an automatic playoff spot. So that's my team. We'll go on to Kieren D's.
For me, I'd change one player. It'd be a right back. I'll put Zachary Durnley in there. He's in terms of goals per 90 minutes. As a right back, he is third in the league. Is 0.85 goals per 90 minutes. Right back.
Where? Who for?
Oldham.
I guess if you were talking attacking sense, he's got every right to be in there.
I'm just saying, right back. 0.85 goals per 9 minutes as a right back. Just saying. It's
up there.
Check now that the first is not a centre back.
While you check that, this is Kieren D's team. Oh dear.
no, Zach Durnley. But the guy who's Jimmy Knowles is first, and Ryan Harder. Please say you're a forward, and we're all right. Get in there. He's a forward. We're all good.
There you go. Well, I can tell you, Kieran
Right.
D hasn't put Zach Denley in his side, but I'll quickly skim through it. He's gone exactly championship only for this one. He's gone for Brice Samba in goal, 33 games played, 34 goals conceded, 12 clean sheets. As I said, if the league continues, I would put him in mine. Left back, he's gone for Rico Henry, 37 games played for Brentford, 11 clean sheets, 32 goals conceded, no goals and 2 assists. Now he's gone for Pontus Jansson in his team as well. 25 games played. It's the lowest amount, apart from one other player in the team. 9 clean sheets, 17 goals conceded in the games that the Swedish centre-back has played. Of course, he had a little bit of time out from an injury. On the right centre-back side, he's gone for Liam Cooper, of course, the other lead centre-back. 30 games played, 13 clean sheets, 23 goals conceded, and 1 goal. Nearly 50% of the games he's played, he's kept a clean sheet for Leeds. And, of course, he's gone same as me, Luke Ayling at right back, 27 games, 13 clean sheets, 4 goals, 4 assists. Enough said there. He continues the Leeds trend. Calvin Phillips in the CDM position, 31 games played, 14 clean sheets, 25 goals conceded, 1 goal and 2 assists. He's nearly kept, once again, 50% of the clean sheets in the Championship this season. Of course, Calvin Phillips been right up there this season. He's had a couple of games off from a red card suspension, but he's been right up there as one of the best midfielders in the Championship. Safe to say, another one of the top midfielders this season, Eberici Eze of QPR. He's played 37 games, 12 goals and 8 assists. For a QPR side that's surprised everyone, I think it's safe to say.
Alongside him, Asai Samuel deserves a shout as well, because he's been brilliant.
And I mean, you could have said as well before, obviously, he moved. Naki Wells was doing incredibly well for QPR at the time. And it's a shame he's moved on. He's gone for Jon Toral for the right centre mid position. 8 games played, no goals and 3 assists. Obviously, Jon Toral there nearly getting an assist in every 2 games, which is quality for a midfielder.
Quality, deserves it. Without him, some people said it was Bowen and Grisic at the bottom of the Jenga tower. Jon Toral, right?
So Jon Toral makes it into the side. On the left side, he's gone for Colin Grant, just like me. Of course, 44% of all the goals this season, Colin Grant has contributed towards. On the right-hand side, he's gone for Matías Pereira as well. 33 games, 6 goals and 16 assists. And the one person that has gone for Mitrovic is Kieren D, of course. 34 games, 23 goals and 21 assists. Not 21 assists. That'd be ridiculous. It'd be in everyone's team if he had 21 assists. 1 assist for Fulham this season as they fight for the 21 title.
Assists. Jesus.
That'd be nutty. He wouldn't be at Fulham if he had 21 assists. I'll tell you that for sure. No. So that is Kieran D's EFL side. Would there be any players that you'd look at and take out?
No,
change?
No, move on.
Jon Toral.
No, bar off.
See, I'm surprised no one said anything about Pontus Jansson.
Yeah, I don't. He's not in mine. I won't put him in. But then again, it's only Championship, so it narrowed his options.
Yeah, I guess he had more of the other EFL sides in there. He'd be a bit more open. But of course, that was Championship only. Not a bad side overall. And to be honest, if it was just a Championship side, I think you could agree with 75% of the team, if not more. Of course, you got Toral, an imminent starter in everyone's EFL team this season side. So if Kieran D's going in there, does Kieran L? The answer is no, he doesn't.
No,
it's for your team.
In there, Christy Pym. As you mentioned earlier, 15 clean sheets. I can't put Kiko Casilla in there because he's an absolute travesty. He's an awful goalkeeper, an accident waiting to happen, horrific player.
Most clean sheets in the EFL.
Big racist.
Yeah, but I don't think that's due to Kiko Casilla. I mean, I think they could have had about 17 if it was a different goalkeeper. I don't know about what you think, Josh, but the amount of mistakes he's made has also led to less clean sheets than they could have had.
Yeah, I guess that is true, but still got the most in the league. I mean, as I said, maybe if they got Ivan Meslier in net, they probably would have had more, somebody a bit more calm and competent on the ball. But he has got a mistake in him.
I think he's awful. Anyway,
just like coming out with rude words as well.
Yeah, and don't be a racist. But then the week after, Leeds fans will chant his name like he's a hero. Who knows? Right back, Fancy Dabo from Coventry.
Love that name, Fancy Dabo.
And the only reason he's in there is because Coventry deserved a player and I haven't put anyone else in. Centre back Liam Cooper. Leeds deserved a player and I haven't put anyone else in, so he's in there. There's no reason. Raglan, my other centre back, plays for Cheltenham. they've conceded 27 goals this season. The other closest to the league has conceded 37. They've conceded 10 less than everyone else. So I thought you have to put one of their centre backs in because
You do.
that's quite impressive to concede.
Where are they
10.
in the league?
Cheltenham, I don't know.
Top end, I think. Cheltenham, as far as I'm aware.
It'd help if I could spell it. I just spelled it correct.
I think they're in the top 4.
They are, if it loads up the.
You're going to say 5th now, aren't you? Oh, you're going to.
If the league table will load up.
I'm pretty sure they're in the top section. Like
they are.
2nd.
Correct. The 5th.
5th. It's crazy that when you think about it, 27 goals conceded, but 5th.
Yeah, they just don't score enough.
No, because their goal difference is 25.
See,
that means
this is where Blackpool would come in handy if we swapped them around and we gave Cheltenham's defence to Blackpool and Blackpool's attack to Cheltenham. All problems would be solved.
To be fair, when I was doing the research, I was like, it's amazing that they've conceded 10 less than the closest to them.
Yeah.
That's, and I don't know who's their best centre back. I can't say I've watched a lot of Cheltenham, but he'd played quite a few games.
Well,
so
you're not a big Cheltenham fan. Wow, fake.
I know. Honestly, Cheltenham fans are fuming. They're all at the races anyway. It doesn't matter. Anyway, at left back we've got George Cooper from Plymouth, 11 assists from left back. Deserves to be in the team.
I'm going to slightly put you off there, and he played left mid for most of it. He played left back once.
Hey, well, do you know what then? Bombing up and down that wing. If you've not noticed, I'm not left mid.
It's like the Robertson.
him and Dabo are playing right wing back and left wing back. Look at him. Bombing.
Improvise, adapt, overcome.
Exactly. You don't know what my team plays in game. Don't come at me.
Very true. Very true. But
Liam Feeney, you had at the wings playing centre mid for me. So. He's, as you said, he's got 14 assists in the league. However, I did want to mention, in the League Cup, played 1, assisted 1. In the EFL Trophy, played 2, assisted 2. He just loved assisting every single game. He just loves assisting. So he's in.
Blackpool the 13th.
Yeah, but you had bloody him in there as well. Don't start with me.
No, I'm just saying it's just a shame because, as I said, you look at Blackpool's attack, and I looked at the stats, and as I said, Ginandwele, their strikers, right up there for top scorer. They've got the top assister, but the 13th. It's weird.
To be fair though, Cheltenham conceded 10 less than everyone else, are in 5th. So who knows? Anthony Sarcevic, 10 goals, 6 assists. But I do want to mention, like last week, should have been on your fun facts. He's had 2 red cards. Angry.
How many goals did you say, Ron?
10 goals.
Yeah, 4 of them have been penalties as well.
He was in Ross. Why do you not do this when Josh was making his team?
Because I didn't find the stat until now.
Oh well, I was researching Cheltenham too much. I don't know.
To be fair though, realistically, you've got to think 10 goals for a flat midfielder is still quality, no matter whether you're taking penalties or not.
And even scoring the penalties is still something.
Exactly.
He's the Plymouth Milivojevic. Matthias Pereira at West Brom, 16 assists. That's just next level from a midfielder.
Yeah, he'll be back at Sporting next season, no doubt.
Yeah, unbelievable stuff. They're lost if we lose him. And then for the front 3, I decided to go 1 from each league. So when Watkins from the Championship, because he's 10 times the player Mitrovic is. I don't like Mitrovic. Ivan Toney, because he's the League One top goal scorer by a considerable margin, I think. I think it's by a good 9 goals. He is by far and away.
I think it's 2 or 3. I think.
Oh, is it Yowen Doyle that's a mile away?
I think so.
One of them's 10 away.
Ivan Toney's 9 away. Close to Paddy Madden.
Thank you.
There you go. Wow.
It's
crazy, though, isn't it?
No, it's 9. I knew it was. How far's Yowen Doyle?
Doyle is 11.
See, they're both miles away.
Yeah.
So
what, from the next top goal scorer?
Yeah, Nicky Mayne has 14. Owen Doyle's 25.
No, I'm not having that.
Yeah. Told you.
It's on BBC Sport currently.
Yeah, we'll trust them. But yeah, I think them 3, in terms of attacking players across the 3 leagues, should be any team's front 3.
Apart from Watkins, I think we all had them front 3.
Yeah, no, Watkins. But when you look at it, it's 100% deserved. At the end of the day, they've all been quality, like stats wise. I mean, as I said, Mitrovic, Yeah, I wouldn't put Mitrovic in there, to be honest. It's not that I don't like Mitrovic. Even though he scored all those goals, I do think Watkins has been better.
I think Watkins is the better player. I just think he offers you more. I think you can only play one style with
Mitrovic.
Mitrovic, but you can play various styles with him.
But I mean, you've got a goal scorer from every league in there, so I do like that. It varies it up a little bit, and as I said, at the end of the day, we've all gone very, very similar options wise for the attackers. I mean, obviously, Kieran D was the only one there to go for a Mitrovic option instead. So that is our rest of the world and our EFL teams out of the way.
That was a hell of a lot of fun.
That was quite good, actually. I think that was the best one because of the varying.
I think it was the most times we've actually agreed with each other as well.
Well, I'm surprised no one put Tenenbaum in net in the rest of the world. That was.
I'm sorry. If it was me and Josh both put Bizzo.
Yeah, we put Bizzo in there.
Only 7 in 26? No, Tenenbaum.
No, but Isaac Alkmaar have got the best European record out of the top non-top 5 leagues. So
not Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan.
Top 5. Sorry, I forget that I recognise that Azerbaijan is one of the premium leagues.
One of the leading world leagues in football.
Azerbaijan.
Well, I don't know where Balayev came from. He is from the Azerbaijan league. That might have been why I put him in.
That's probably why, and it makes sense for the stat that the Azerbaijan team got best defensive record.
In the league. Great team.
So while Rowan finds out the stats,
I've got it.
Oh, you got it. There we go.
Karabag are first on 45 points.
He didn't play for them.
FK Nepchi are on 37 points in second.
Didn't play for them.
Kejla are on 30 points.
I'll tell you who he plays for. I'll go get who he plays for.
Sumkiat, Sira, Saba, Sabil, or Kabala?
No, Balayev plays for Zera.
Okay, they're fifth.
How many clean sheets do they have?
Goal conceded, 0.
I thought it said 0 then. I was like, whoa.
37.
Wait a sec.
Dear. Which means Cheltenham have a better record.
That is most in the league.
Oh dear.
He's not in there. It can't be him.
Oh dear. We might have found a problem, but that's beside the point. While you guys try and find out the stats for who's got the best clean sheets in the entire world and history of football.
Figured it out.
Have you got it?
No, I just know that. Wait, on the 15th of Feb, Zera lost 6-0. So it's definitely not him. It's definitely Tenenbaum.
It's time to find out what we'll be doing next week. Of course, we are getting towards the end of the Team of the Season debate series. But don't worry, we have plenty more to come on the channel. So we're going to finally have a look and see what leagues we've got left.
I've just seen
of course,
zeros.
Liga 1 and Bundesliga are the 2 leagues available.
I think we all know what we want.
Now, the one that comes up is the one that we won't be doing. It's the one that's left on the screen.
Right,
so it is spinning.
If we get League One now, I want League One now. So it's going to be Bundesliga. It's going to be.
Is League.
That's fine. It's okay.
It's all right.
We end on the best one.
League. The best one is for last. I mean, Bernardo said best hairstyle, Lexi. We've got loads of different things coming up on the. Yeah, it's definitely.
My hair hasn't maintained its position the whole podcast.
Check back in 6 weeks' time when the hairdressers are still shutting out. We're looking like cavemen.
Skinhead.
Wear a hat.
There we go.
He's wearing his do-rag.
So,
no, because when you look straight at the thing and you can't see, like your forehead in between your hat.
Sorry, do you want me to do that?
There we go.
So we will be doing the Liga next week. Obviously, same time, Wednesday, 5 p.m. UK time. But in terms of content, there is more to come on the channel over the next couple of weeks. Of course, yesterday we had the Wrestling Corner, which covered... I've just seen Benaldo's comment. There you go. Pink Neymar, Ryan Babel, Falady. Chowdhury.
In fairness, every Tuesday we do have the Wrestling Corner. You're correct. We talked about WrestleMania yesterday. Next week, it's business as usual. AEW have recorded nearly 3 months worth of content. NXT are still going ahead as usual. We've got some big NXT matches this weekend, so that'll be fun to talk about tonight, and so that'll be fun to talk about tomorrow.
That's not too bad. My camera's gone blurry. There it is. Trying to focus it. We got there in the end. So, of course, that is on Tuesday. Don't miss on that. I will put a link in the description, of course, below for the last episode. You might have missed it. Of course, I said before, YouTube's live system has been a bit dodgy. We are using a software called StreamYard, so I don't think it's actually showing up
it was in mine today.
Was it in yours? That's a good sign then.
And
maybe
it
is
when you went to search Sports Corner. I didn't need to go on the channel.
Oh, nice. So maybe it solved itself from previous times.
We've disappeared now. We were on there now.
It's gone. Of course, tomorrow we will have the NFL Corner. Of course, what's coming up on that, Kieran?
We will. I think what we're going to do is, because the draft is coming up, we're going to basically go through every division in terms of what the teams need, where we think they're going to end up after free agency, what we think they're going to draft. Because last week we did our mock draft. I think we'll do another one just before the draft, maybe mine for the first time. Very nervous. I've never done one before. But yeah, we'll go through basically where we think people are going to finish in their division. Maybe teams to look out for, like last season who did really bad, but this season can make the biggest jumps. No, you are the complete opposite, sadly. But basically, I think me and Will are going to go through every division over the next coming weeks to build up. So I think it might be 2 divisions tomorrow, 2 divisions the week after to get us through to draft night.
And which we
confirmed live stream. Confirm it.
Yes, there will be a live stream coming up in the next couple of weeks.
It's going to be the whole weekend, I think. Well, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Of when?
I think it's the 23rd. Let me double check.
If you have a look at that, I will also put a link in the description as well to the last episode of the NFL Corner. Very good response from you guys. We should have. Have you got any graphics for tomorrow? Because I did get asked if you've got graphics to put up on the screen.
Well, last week we did film it like this. I even brought my whiteboard and everything. I had a whiteboard. I was like ready for it, and but something went wrong with the thingy because we recorded it rather than going live. Maybe next time we'll just go live instead.
We can sort that out. I mean, if you want, I can always come in and help out with that, so we can have graphics on next week. Because of course they did record it and there was no graphics. Unfortunately, Friday there'll be the 2nd episode of the Hull City career. That is something I'm going to get recorded tonight or tomorrow. We should hopefully start to begin to make our first signings. We're going to skip all the friendly games and just get into the real proper part of it.
Soon. Maybe in the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, we may have a Football Manager draft. It's all to do with when my PC comes, but we may be able to do a Football Manager thing as well.
Hopefully. Well, it all depends because I wouldn't be able to take part, would I? Because my keyboard.
You don't need your keyboard, do you? You use your mouse.
Your keyboard, Football Manager.
Yeah. You need to type out the names of the players.
You can just put in striker, French.
You
it's a lot of effort, isn't it?
Could you just I'll ask afterwards.
I mean, you can plug your keyboard in, but my only problem is I haven't got a plug-in keyboard. So it's that issue on that. But that's something we can sort out.
We want to do it, but Josh is being lazy.
Yeah, so, Josh won't get his keyboard sorted.
Well, I'd have to go out and buy one.
Lockdown,
shop. Yeah, kind of a problem. True, but I mean, Amazon's taking a long time to deliver as well. But that's all the problems with the lockdown of coronavirus. And of course, said the pub quiz in the kind of sort that out. Really, I'm going to try and make it interactive, so you guys will be able to play along. I'm going to try and get it live streamed on Twitter and on YouTube as well at the same time, so you'll be able to play along, interact with us, and hopefully we're going to try and get everybody on for that. So
yeah. By the way, the draft Thursday the 23rd through Saturday.
There we go.
So we'll be live Thursday, Friday, and God help on Saturday when it's the 6th round and no one has any clue who's coming out, and we'll just be doing on the spot research. But we love to see it.
But that'll be over a weekend. So if you're really into your NFL content, that is going to be an entire weekend worth of live streams. That will be with Will and Kieran. They'll be going through all of the latest as they go through the round picks in the NFL. It should certainly be an interesting one, and that'll be coming up in the next couple.
It's going to be a few late nights there.
Very busy, but as you said, when you get to round 6 and you don't know who's who, that'll make it even more interesting.
Is Fred Flintstone coming out?
But yeah, that is all we've got time for on today's episode of the Top Corner podcast. Thank you very much for joining me, Kieren L and Rowan. Hopefully, we should have Kieren D back next week as we'll be going through our league and team of the seasons. That will be, of course, as always, 5 p.m. UK time while we are still on lockdown. We'll be keeping that here on StreamYard. So do not miss out. As always, do leave a like and a subscription. As always, we are so close to 600.
Turn the notification bell on.
Yes,
so you get notified when we're live on everything.
And that'll solve all the problems out that we have with live streaming.
Yeah.
So once again, thank you very much, Kieren L. Thank you very much, Rowan.
Thank you.
We'll see you on the Top Corner podcast Wednesday, 5 p.m. League. Don't miss it. See you later. Goodbye.
Bye.